We're back. Thank you, Nisha and Rexy. The sessions are moving. They're getting more exciting, more powerful. It is time to soar. Are you ready? I'm ready. I'm ready to keep it moving. We got upcoming next, April Watts. She is, man, we go back. She's been around. She's a published journalist, a multimedia personality. She's a life stylist. You know, some people like fashion stylists. And an on-air personality, a professional, a pro. I'm working on it, April, okay? Just bear with me. Pray for me, as I know I've been changed, you know what I mean? Anyway, she will be having a conversation with Tressa Smallwood. Tell us just a little bit about it, because I don't want to spoil the whole session.
Well, listen, Tressa, while on bed rest, wrote this best-selling...
On bed rest?
Yes. With him, she was pregnant. She was on bed rest for I think like 6 months, and wrote a best-selling novel, which she turned into a multi-million-dollar publishing company after she sold this rights as a movie. But what's interesting is, I guess she didn't sell the rights because she owns all of the films that she's produced. So you may not know her name, but you'll know her work. She has over 11 films that she's produced, including Secrets, Sinners Wanted, Hollywood Heartbreak, All In, and The Available Wife.
I'm available, Tressa, in case you need a fill-in, to stand in one of these movies. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Put your digital hands together. This is Women Who Win. Get excited about some things and learn about a dynamic woman from another dynamic woman as they have a conversation.
And they're taking it to the main stage.
To the main stage.
Let's go.
I'm available, Tressa, for a movie role.
Hey, Tressa, how are you today?
Hi, I am doing fantastic. Thanks for having me.
I am so excited to be able to talk to you because you are doing so many amazing things and you are going to inspire so many people. So let's get right into this conversation. For those who may not know your name, they definitely know your work. You have produced a myriad of content. Can you tell us just some of the television and film projects you have produced and some that you're currently working on?
Awesome. So I would say Available Wife, All In, Sinners Wanted, Holiday Heartbreak, A Rich Christmas. Hopefully they've seen some of those movies. If they have not, they need to get to see them.
Yes.
I am producing a few movies as we speak with some amazing talent and directors. Working on a project with Megan Good, Tori Naughton. A lot of good things happening in 2022. So I can't wait to share all those projects.
My favorite that you have produced, because I'm a Christmas movie person, like I just sit in front of the television and I veg out on all sorts of Christmas movies. A Rich Christmas with Bill Bellamy was my jam. Yeah. I loved it.
Such a cute movie. You know what I love most about that movie in particular is that it's showing Black families in the light that we should be shown in. Right?
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah. So Bill Bellamy is key on making that a series. He's like, tell me, when are we doing it? He has not let up. Like every time somebody says something to him about that movie, he'll send me a message and say, when is our series coming? He said, because I'm going to be Marshall Rich for real.
I love it. I completely and totally love it. What I also loved about it is that it showed Black people that are well-to-do, as opposed to Black people always having a struggle story. Yeah. Not that the struggle isn't real, but just to show a variety of types of Black people in different socioeconomic statuses was really refreshing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of my brand, April, if you really think about it, from Available Wife. I have a new movie coming out in April called Trophy Wife. I don't know what's up with me and these wives. Like, I don't know. But yeah, this movie Trophy Wife that's coming, Black people living good. We riding up in yachts from the office.
Yes, I love it.
Okay. So that's kind of like my brand. Although I do have movies that, may not necessarily have that element. I like making good looking movies for Black people.
Good stuff. You are the embodiment of, if you build it, they will come. You have built not one, but 2 successful companies. You started out with your book publishing company, and now you have your film production company. Can you help those of us who are building our companies? Can you give us 3 keys to building a successful company?
Yeah, number one, do your homework, and I'll keep, even add the words research to that same category, because a lot of times when you're setting out to get into any industry, other people make it look easy. So you just kind of go, oh, I got this, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't research, if you don't do your homework first, you can't be successful at any business. The second thing I would do is to say, be prepared for long-term success. Everybody wants this whole microwave, success where it's going to happen right away. Be ready for long-term, like be ready to get in there and stick it out, because there'll be a lot of bad times before you get to the good times. So be prepared for that. And then lastly, I would say number 3 would be to believe in yourself no matter what other people say. Mm-hmm. Your friends won't believe in your dreams. Sometimes your mama won't believe in your dreams.
Yes.
And you got to be good with that. I can't tell you how many times people told me before I left teaching to launch my my book publishing company full time. I was on bed rest when I wrote my first book. And when I told people I wasn't going to go back to work, they were like, you got a master's degree. You get summers off. What are you talking about? What's wrong with you? I mean, so many people tried to talk me out of doing it. And so I think by the time I started my movie company, they were done with all. They were like, well, she is definitely not listening to us. Because I went from having summers off to having my whole life off to do.
I love it. Yeah. What I've realized too is a lot of times when people don't believe in you, it's not even that they don't want to see you achieve, but a lot of times people can't see for you what they can't see for themselves. And if it seems insurmountable, impossible for them, then there's no way possible that you could do this,
Yeah, for sure. And, you can't get mad at that when people don't believe, I'm good with it. Even now, sometimes if I tell them, I think the track record makes people believe in me a little bit more now. Mm-hmm. And they know that, hey, she is really not listening. She is not going, she's going to do it regardless. I think what you said is so important, because if they've never had a vision that's big or a dream that's big, they just, you can't get mad. It's just like, okay, like, it's okay.
I want to go back to your backstory. You started out as a teacher and you did something really bold. You quit your job after your first novel. I need to know, did you just say, okay, I've done this, I've achieved it, and now it's do or die, sink or swim, I'm just going to take this risk? Or were the book sales so great that it made sense for you to say, hey, I'm onto something, and you quit your job?
I think it was a little bit of both, because at the time, again, I was on bed rest, had a baby. My daughter Bailey was, when I was pregnant with her, my doctor kept saying, listen, you have trouble with pregnancies. If you want this to be successful, you have to be on bed rest for 6 months. So that was already like, in the gut, like, okay, all right, 6 months, I'm getting on this bed rest. And so during that time, I wrote my first book. Well, once I got off bed rest, the plan was going to be on maternity leave for a little bit of time anyway. So I already kind of had a cushion. But during that time, I wrote the book while on bed rest, learned how to self-publish it, published the book, and within the first 2 months made $40,000. Well, as a school teacher with a master's degree back then, I was only making $42,000 with a master's. And although I love teaching, that's why I still teach to this day, I just said, okay, you know what? This might be the one thing, that will be my new journey, because I wanted to be a business owner. I just didn't know what business, how to go about it. I just really wasn't sure. So that
you come from a background of entrepreneurs, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. My grandfather, he had at least 12 jobs, and I'm not exaggerating. He would literally, my grandfather was a dental technician. He would come home from that. He would switch to his next job. He was a photographer. Then he come back, and then he was a DJ. And we used to say, what is going on?
I'm not mad at Granddaddy. I'm so not mad at him. Okay.
Listen, he was not playing. And because we watched that, my whole family, my cousins, all of us, my sister, We're all entrepreneurs, and it comes natural for us. The reason why I started teaching was, again, my love for teaching, but I kind of just knew, even though I loved it, I was like, I just have this entrepreneurial spirit, like it's in me. And so that was just that moment to make me do it. Now I'm married, been married for 25 years. My husband at the time was like, you're crazy. You just got your master's. What's going on? What are you talking about? You're not going back to work. And I was like, listen, this is what I made. This is what I plan on doing. I'm going to write more books. I'm going to turn our garage into, I had the whole blueprint for him.
You had the plan, honey.
I had the plan. And he was looking at me like, girl, but he believed in me enough to give it a shot. He knew that, okay, if this doesn't work, she can go back and be a teacher for sure. Right. Well, it worked, and I never turned back.
I love it. Now let's talk about this. You are interesting to me because a novel turned into a career, but a novel turned into a full-on publishing house with almost 200 titles under your publishing house that aren't just yours, but other people. Like you've helped other people. And then a publishing house becomes a media and film production company. Talk to me about your vision, because you're obviously a person who doesn't think small.
Yeah. So, here's one thing I will say, April. I tell people all the time, in the early days, I knew what I wanted to do, but I really didn't realize what was happening. This was definitely all God's plan. Like, I don't try to take credit. Like what's happening in my life right now, these are like supernatural blessings coming. Because even when I named my when I named my book publishing company, I named it Life Changing Books, and I had no idea why. And now it's become full circle for me, with everything that's happening on the book side, on the movie side, it all just makes sense. So even though back then I knew, okay, you know what? I want to do all of this. Like, I have this big vision. I didn't know that all of those books that I was publishing back then would eventually become movies. My mind wasn't there back then. But one thing for sure, I was getting offers maybe around 2005, 2007, people wanted to buy some of the rights to my books. People were offering money to buy the publishing house. And I'm talking about like small money, like $200,000. And I was like, well, why would I do that? That doesn't even really make any sense, right? But there were people selling off of their companies at that time, just not thinking. And, I knew not to do that. So fast forward now in the movie world, content is king, right? If you own content,
everybody's looking for content. You have networks who don't want to spend the money to produce something. So they're looking for stuff that's already done to purchase from people. Absolutely.
And so now I have not only my entire book catalog, but now I also have a film catalog that over the course of just 5 years, I have 11 titles that I own outright.
I am sorry. Someone called me. I thought I had my phone on Do Not Disturb, but we're going to go back. Not only do you have your book catalog, but you have a film catalog.
A film catalog. And so I have 11 films to date that I actually own outright, that when I'm dead and gone, my children will be able to relicense those films over and over again. So think Scarface, think Set It Off, just movies that we all watch over and over and over again. It's like, so like to your point, April, I hope that your children and their children will eventually watch A Rich Christmas, right?
Because yes.
That's how it goes. And so a lot of times when younger filmmakers are thinking about doing projects, they have to think ahead. They have to think long term. And the average person, they aren't willing to think long term. They're thinking, what am I wearing today? How can I get some money today? How can I get my next selfie? But it's like, we got to think bigger. We got to stop that.
I want to talk more about thinking bigger, because you said something that just made me smile on the inside. You said that when people were calling you with offers, they were calling you with small money. You said small money, $200,000, but to a person who has never received $200,000 for anything, that seems like a lot of money. And we as African Americans especially, we operate in a fear mentality and we operate in a poverty mentality. So we're so afraid that we're never going to get an offer for anything ever again, that we'll take that $200,000 as opposed to, once again, like you do, thinking bigger and coming up with the plan of, well, if they're offering me $200,000 for this, what is it worth? And I can do this myself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that last part that you just said, I can do this myself. That's the fearful part for most people. Even when I shot my very first movie, once again, I showed all these people, hey, I just built my own publishing house from ground up. It's very successful. It didn't matter. Just the fact that I said that I'm going to produce a movie. I'm a Black woman, females in Hollywood are Black females, a few of them sprinkle here and there.
Yes.
So once again, it started like, what? Even now, when I talk to distributors or I might go to a film festival out of the country or something, and I might just have a conversation. They'll say, well, yeah, but who owns your films? And I'll say me, but then they'll come back and ask me, like, they'll say, no, but who actually owns your films? To the point where I'm like, so are you understanding what I'm saying? Like, so that you don't ask me again, I own my films, me. But it is unimaginable for some people. They still don't get it. So, this is just a message to anybody who is a writer, a filmmaker, aspiring writer, aspiring filmmaker. It is possible. And yes, in that world, 200,000 is small money. And intellectual property is so much, it's just the amount of money that you can make from projects like that. I can't even explain to you, but you have to be willing to bet on yourself to get that kind of money.
Speaking of betting on yourself, you financed your first film yourself. Let's talk about that and how you came to that decision.
Yeah. So listen, and I want to clarify, not just by myself, my family, my mama, my sister, my family. And they were looking at me like, this girl is really begging here, because I didn't ask for small money. I was like, hey, can I get $100,000 from you? Can I get $100,000 from you?
Yes.
And they were like, what? A movie? And how am I going to get this money back? But because I'd researched, remember I said it's all about, I had mentors. I spent so much money on flying places, meeting up with my mentors, paying my mentors, learning. A year and a half before I shot my first movie was just spent learning, researching. That saved my life. And that one decision changed everything for me, because once I shot my first movie, I knew exactly how to get the money from my family. I knew how to offer them deal points on my movie. So, because you don't go to your family and just say, give me the money and I'm gonna get it back to you. No, you have to go with a business opportunity and a contract. My mom has a contract. And because she invested in me, every time somebody watches Secret, she getting checks in her mailbox.
I love it.
Yeah, and forever, she will, forever. But she took a shot on me, and my mom is not a risk taker. She kept saying, what is this now we did? Tell me what we did again. It never clicked for her until she started getting those checks. She said, oh, I got a Secrets check. I'm like, yeah, me too. I got one too. But a lot of times people, you could possibly be afraid to go to your family because you don't know what they're going to say. Maybe, your family is accustomed to you coming a lot, so you got to go to them differently. Sometimes your family may not have the resources or the money that you need. Like my family, I was grateful enough and blessed that my family had that kind of money where I could go to them and say, this is what I need. Also, I come from a family full of entrepreneurs, so they get it, like
they understand. Yeah.
Yeah. And once we did the first movie, it was easy. Now, there were some people that we asked in the beginning and they said no. Now they're like, hey, I got a check for you. And I'm like, hey, we don't really need it now.
That's how it happens sometimes. Now, there's an adage that says, don't quit your day job. But to do what you're doing, at some point, you have to quit your day job. And for those of us that are out there that want to transition into something different, it doesn't even always have to be a creative field. Yeah. But how do you know when it's time to quit your day job? Because some of us just get up and go, and it might not be a good idea.
Yeah, so for me, I'm big on finances. My grandfather that I was sharing, who had all those jobs, he also taught me a lot about finances. and to save your money. So for me, even now in my seasoned age, I don't spend a lot of money without guilt, right? So I'll go into a store and it might be a nice handbag. And I'm like, oh, I don't know that I want to spend $5K on that, because that $5K could help me invest in my next project. So that's just my mentality, period, that I don't spend a lot. So if you are that person that you're looking to do something big and you have your day job and you got to start saving. You got to start saving for the moment. Get your cushion. And let's say your bills every month, you $6,000 in bills every month. Save yourself 5 months of bills, 30 grand. And then say, all right, got my cushion. I'm going to step out and I'm going to make this work. But you also have to research to be ready. Don't just jump out, be ready.
Yes, I like it. Do you consider yourself a businesswoman operating in a creative field or a creative operating a business? Because those are two very different things.
Yeah, I think I'm stronger in the business world. Although I'm a creative, I've written 3 scripts that have been actually filmed thus far. I'm the writer of Available Wife, the screenplay writer of All In, and Dying to Be Famous. But outside of being a writer, and of course, I've written 7 books and I've helped other authors write books. At the end of the day, my strongest gift is that I'm a better businesswoman than I am a creative. And that's probably why I've been able to build all of this.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so you are a person that doesn't believe in rules, doesn't believe in boxes, doesn't believe in ceilings. You are a Black woman thriving in film and television. And on top of it, this is the one that gets me. You're doing it all from the DMV area. When people say that you either have to live in New York, Los Angeles, most recently Atlanta, to get anything accomplished in quote unquote Hollywood, and you are doing it all. But according to what they say, you're not supposed to be here. Why do you think you beat the odds?
Just because I believe in myself and I have a plan to back it. It's not just the belief, it's here is the blueprint. And so many times you're correct. People say, just think most times if I go into a room with someone in the film and television world, they know exactly, what I've done. They still say, you did that in DC? It is just for them unbelievable. That's why, we host every year the DMV Film and TV Summit. We bring people here now, right? This will be our 3rd year doing it. We bring people here just so that they can see this is what we're doing. This is what's going on here. And for me, I always say, I don't want to go do what everybody else is doing. Let's build our own world, our own infrastructure here. We have so many talented people here, actors, crew members, and we have the support too of all the different people who can help. So, the Maryland Film Office, the DC Film Office, everybody that you can think of, the mayor for DC, everything you can think of. They call, they say, congratulations. What can I do for you? Do you need any locations?
I love it.
Yeah, the support is there. And, we have all of these females like just killing it and in position. And they reach back and they're like, listen, what do you need? What can I do? What can I do? Even when I bring directors, I think I started at the beginning telling you that I'm getting ready to shoot some projects where I just hired Megan Good, Notori Naughton, Lisa Ray, and Tashina Arnold. They're going to be my directors. And their agents kept saying, but where are we shooting? I said, I told you, DC. And they said, oh, but we're shooting it. Yes. Just check your email. You're coming to DC.
I love it.
They don't get it. They don't get it. And then they get here and they love it. They love it.
And then Black women directors. I am loving all of this right now. I am loving every single bit of it.
Yeah.
So listen, you are obviously a very smart woman. You know how to research. You have a great business acumen, but still to jump out there and do something like you're doing, you have to have a lot of courage. You have to have a lot of audacity. Where does that come from? Where did you get that?
I would still say my grandfather. All of this
Uh-huh.
just goes right back to him. Like he literally taught me and my sister and my cousins, all of us, like we would just sit around and listen. And I'm the oldest of, all of my crew. So, I was expected to be the one to make sure everybody was good. So even now, for MegaMind, we run this as a family business. My sister is the
I
lead
love
costume
it.
designer. I have my niece is the lead art department. And she, my niece even said, wait a minute, I have this position. No, you didn't just get it. I'm not giving it to you. You have the talent. You have the
Mm-hmm.
talent to do it, right? So everybody that's in position, they're not in those positions just because they're my family members. They know how to execute. So when you see those beautiful movies and you see the clothing and the
I
the
love it.
decor, that's my family doing all of that. So we really do just say, hey, we have been taught well. We need to execute well. We need to make our family proud and do all things in excellence.
And your legacy building. I love it, love it, love it. So
Yeah.
let's talk about this word that is a common theme with everyone that I'm talking with today, and that's balance.
Yeah.
That becomes very interesting for us as women. Like you have an extensive and an impressive resume. You've done so much, but how do you balance career, motherhood, and being a wife?
Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. I think that because we run the business as a family,
Mm-hmm.
it gives us an opportunity for us to always spend time together, right? So if I'm headed to Atlanta for a shoot or Miami for a shoot, best believe they all come in at some point, and not just to hang out. You come work, we see you, come over there and work. So we're all working together. My husband is an entrepreneur. He's had his own business for the last 25 years. So he's busy
Okay.
just like me. So it's not like he's sitting at home, and he gets home at 6 and saying, hey, where's my wife? No, we're both like, hey, what's your deal for the day? All right, you getting
You're
food?
both
Okay.
working. Yeah.
And I don't cook. I gave that up a long time ago. Okay. My daughters are older and I tell them all the time. And when they say, what's for dinner? Whatever you bringing or whatever you cooking. Because that's just not my thing anymore. I did my time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
Mm-hmm.
with your family, you decide who's doing what roles are people playing, and you really just talk about your goals as a family. That way, if you're working as an entrepreneur 12 and 14 hours a day, you don't have the rest of the family feeling like you're not there. We
Yeah.
all kind of have goals. We our children are entrepreneurs. And so everybody's sticking and moving, but we definitely spend a lot of time together. We vacation a lot. We typically after every month
Good.
we vacation. So it's good. It's good. My husband is definitely the better person in the relationship though to put the brakes on us. Like he'll say, what's that calendar? Like he'll even tell my assistant, like, I need to get that calendar so that I can make sure that we are going places and doing things. And so we do get to travel, spend a lot of time together.
Good stuff. So I want to go back to the education component. You talked about being an educator and loving education, and it seems to be the common thread in everything that you do. But exactly how does it manifest in the different areas of your life and career?
Yeah, well, I mean, right now I still have a full-time mentorship school where I teach. It's called Access Granted. Like I've never
Awesome.
stopped teaching through all of this. I didn't go back to the classroom, but I started building
Mm-hmm.
my own opportunities. And so for adults who are interested in filmmaking, we literally meet every Saturday, and I help all my students develop their own scripts. I help them get pitch meetings. A lot of them have movies
Good
coming out or
stuff.
we're shooting their movies. So that's ongoing. So that's my mentorship program. But then I also do things like, with the Mayor's Youth Program in DC, I teach in the summer. I teach
Okay.
career development. I teach entrepreneurship with the youth. Typically, I'll do ages 18 to 22. And it's not
Awesome.
necessarily about film. It's just really about teaching them how to go after their goals and teaching them to dream big. So I do a lot of teaching. Like no matter what I'm doing in the film world, I make time
Mm-hmm.
for teaching. Period.
Love it. And the last question, I don't want to let you go, but you're busy, so we do have to let you go. But the last question is, the topic for today's conversation is taking it to the main stage. What does it mean to you to take it to the main stage?
Yeah, so I think for me, taking it to the main stage means develop whatever it is you're doing at the lower stage, right? At the backstage, at the smaller stage. Perfect your craft so that when you go out into the bigger world, which for me, bigger deals, bigger opportunities. My average movie is at $1 million. Well, big stage for me is $5 million, $10 million movies, which I will be doing, by the way, very soon.
Yes.
So, just manifesting that, but that's taking it to the main stage. It's leveling up. And so whatever, the careers are or aspirations of other people out there, you can use that same analogy. It's like, okay, you prepare everything down here and be okay with that for the moment. Like, cause you need time to perfect who you are and what you're doing. Like all the names of people who I get now, I wouldn't have been ready for them 5 years ago. I wouldn't have known what I was talking about. Right. So now I'm ready. I can go and do bigger things on a larger scale. So
success when preparation meets opportunity. So you got to be ready when it's time for that main stage. I totally agree with that. The last thing, how can people follow you to see all the amazing things that you're doing?
Absolutely. So the best way is my Instagram. I'm always on there. It's CEO Azarel, and that's Azarel. And then you can follow my MegaMind Media Facebook page because that's where we do all of our casting calls. I'm hosting a live casting call this Friday. So anybody watching this, if you got singing chops or acting chops, come over there and shoot your shot because we're giving out opportunities.
Good stuff. Well, Tressa, it was fantastic talking to you. Please continue doing what you're doing. And we look to see even bigger things from you, Miss Big Thinker.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. You're so sweet. Love your spirit. And
thank you
so much, okay?
All right. Take care.